Hi everyone, it's Mike here. I'm really excited to share this footage that I filmed on April 8th, 2022 in Saskatoon. I'm no beaver expert, but from what I know about watching these beavers and reading about beavers, I think this very well may be footage of two young beavers meeting their mate. There are two beavers in this video, and as you probably know, it's virtually impossible to tell a male beaver from a female beaver from just looking at them. So for the purpose of my story, I've decided that beaver number one here is going to be the male. I have no idea if that's right or not, but I'm going to call this the male beaver. As I was filming, the male beaver built a scent pile on the riverbank. You'll see that he piles mud and sticks on this rock, and if you listen, you'll hear and see him spray his scent on the pile. Beavers frequently spray their castoreum on scent piles along their territory as a way of communicating various things with other beavers who live in the area. I watched and filmed as this beaver started swimming downstream. Once he got a little ways away, I packed up my tripod and followed to see where he was going to go next. When I caught up with the beaver, he was about to approach another beaver. I quickly set up my tripod and started filming even though I was quite a ways away. You'll see these beavers start to wrestle. Although beavers sometimes fight, in this case this really is just more like a social interaction of two beavers getting to know each other. After their brief wrestling interaction, the second beaver in our movie, who I'm going to consider the female, headed upstream, and the male beaver continued downstream. He only went about 15 meters past, and then they both stopped and started crawling towards the shore. Shortly thereafter, both of these beavers started grooming their own fur while sitting near the shore. Beavers use both their front and hind feet to comb their fur and spread oil through their fur, which helps groom it, clean it, and keep it waterproof. Shortly thereafter, both beavers started swimming upstream. I decided to race back to the spot where I'd been filming the first beaver, because beavers will frequently stop and eat at the same place each evening. I raced back upstream and set my tripod up in the same spot where I had started. It turned out I guessed right because when the female beaver arrived, she got out very near where I had been. I thought she was looking for food on shore, but then I realized she was smelling. She was looking for the scent pile. She showed great interest in the scent pile. My own guess is that she was using the scent to confirm that the other beaver was the opposite gender to her. She left her own scent and then continued back into the water. Within a few seconds, the beaver that I have dubbed the male beaver arrived and cautiously approached her. You can see that he starts to smell her. My own guess is that he's trying to use her scent to confirm that this is a beaver of an opposite gender and of the right age for a mate. While the female beaver continues to have her snack, the male beaver sits up beside her and continues to groom his fur. He approaches even closer, but he gets a little love tap. Maybe she's going to play hard to get. However, very quickly, the two beavers start to groom each other's fur. In this mutual grooming process, beavers will use their teeth and hands to groom and spread oil to parts of the fur that the other beavers have trouble reaching. Although this mutual grooming appears at first glance to be very physically intimate, there is nothing sexual about this behavior. This is simply part of the grooming process. It does, however, require two beavers to trust each other in order to be this physically intimate. The video gets a little shaky for a few seconds because I decided to raise the extension on my tripod to get a better angle for filming. Very shortly, this mutual grooming session will come to an end and both beavers will start swimming back upstream. I quickly packed up my tripod and tried to race ahead of them upstream to anticipate where they were going to go next. The next few clips in this movie will just show the two beavers swimming upstream. I kept moving 50 to 75 meters upstream to the next potential feeding spot, hoping I would be in position to film them getting out of the water and having their next meal. Unfortunately, you will hear that my tripod makes a little clicking noise as I turn the camera to try to keep up with the beavers. The two beavers finally stopped on a rock, so I quickly set up my tripod above them on the bank, presuming that they would stop and have a meal on the rocks. Instead, they started climbing up the rocks. You can see that the beavers continue to be very interested in each other's scent as they move up the rocks. At this point, I realized that they might be climbing up the hill right near where I'm standing. I don't like to be in their way, but by the time I realized they were coming, it would have been worse if I tried to move because I didn't want to spook them. I decided to stay right where I was and keep the camera rolling while being as still and quiet as I could. Where we are now is actually not very far from the sidewalk and the road in downtown Saskatoon. The beavers are well aware of the potential danger. I think they can smell me and they can hear the sounds of the traffic. One of the beavers quickly headed up to a little stand of trees to chew a small branch. The second beaver, however, was very cautious. I could tell that she was afraid and was aware of my presence. I didn't want to move because I thought that would be even scarier, so I just tried to stay as still as possible and keep the camera rolling. She finally decided it was safe enough to continue and looked like she was about to join the other beaver up the hill when the noise of a couple of pedestrians on the sidewalk spooked her and she hustled back into the water. Meanwhile, the first beaver had successfully got a branch for their next meal and headed down the hill, so I just stood by and watched and filmed as he returned to the river. We're coming to the end of the video. It gets a little shaky as the video comes to a close because I'm trying to move the camera to film where the beavers end up next. You'll see as the video comes to a close that the two beavers share the stick and settle on rocks next to the bank. I'm no beaver expert, but I do watch the beavers in the river frequently. I'm pretty certain these are two young adults. And from what I know about beavers, I like to think that these are two beavers who were out looking for a mate and perhaps have found one another. I'd like to think that the wrestling, the grooming, and the smelling was all part of the beaver courtship, and that we've just witnessed two beavers deciding to mate for life, and maybe they're sitting down for their first of many, many meals together. I hope you enjoyed these events as much as I did.